Give them the style, rock the style. Give them the style, come wicked and wild. Give them the style, rock the style. Give them the style, come versatile. Give them the style, rock the style. Give them the style, come wicked and wild.
Hey, there we go. All right, great. Can you hear us?
Give them the style, come versatile.
Nope, you are muted.
Rock the style. Give them the style, come wicked and wild. Give them the style, rock the style.
I got your cam moving, but I do not hear anything. This is why we do early tests before we get into game. Let me double check that you're not muted. Nope, you're not muted on my end. All right, well, you know what? Let's just try a new call. Let's just reset it completely and get a new call going. All right, we're gonna leave the call. We're gonna try this again. Testing number 2. Music is louder. I know the music is louder at the moment because I haven't gone to full shoutcast mode, which is where I actually dropped the music down for initially starting. We're just trying to get the audio rolling correctly because Wraith currently is muted according to all sets and standards and everything else. I'm not sure why that is. I cannot hear you. How does that work? Yeah, I cannot hear you. That's Alright, give it a go. Say something. As soon as the stream starts, literally it was working 5 minutes ago. It literally was working, like, not even, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I see it as you broadcasting audio, but I'm not getting anything. Oh, boy. We haven't had this type of a technical issue in a while. Hey, I can hear you now.
You can?
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong with it. But, hey! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it! Fantastic! Music stopped, that's all right. We're just going to go ahead and do a quick reset on that, and there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to XLNC Shoutcasting. I'm Jay Kelton, and this is Wraith, and we are your hosts for tonight. We are into the finals of the Legends Series 2, going to be going on between the Fire Ferrets and Degenerate 5. These two teams have been working through 6 weeks of games. It's been crazy, it's been up, it's been down, it's been all over the place, but we are finally here in our finals. These are the top 2 favorited teams to make it to the finals. Wraith, are you excited for this?
I am incredibly excited, Jake. It looks like it's going to be the same thing as the Legend Series 1. A rehash, a re-smackdown between these two teams. They've been so dominant throughout the entire course of the split that we've been casting here. Though the D5 is up in the standings a little bit, Fire Ferrets definitely has the potential to come back and take it all away from them in this best of 5 series. We're going to see, I don't know, who are the most dominant people, do you think? And who do you think is going to need extra jungle attention based on our previous standings?
Well, I will always go for Degenerate 5's support of Avidity. On his, no, it wasn't Avidity, it's Randuri. Playing the Alistar. We've seen played twice now and has been devastating. We had one game between these two, and then we had just a for fun game, kind of to see where these teams are at a couple weeks later. And this Alistar coming out from Degenerate 5 has been dominating. On the opposite side, really, King Kong Gun has always been solid on ADCs and has had plenty of opportunities to take over games. We've seen it when Fire Ferrets has actually won games. So I'm really excited to see where these teams come down. Another one to look for is the jungler for Degenerate 5, Xyle Flame. Always has something new to bring to the table, always is exciting to watch. Has a lot of really cool paths that he follows. So I'm excited. I'm ready to get rolling into game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a best of 5. So both these teams will have plenty of opportunities to change things up for what doesn't work and what does work. And we're going to see a lot of cool plays. I'm actually going to be taking notes on the side for what different people pick up and where things go. And let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1. Fire Ferrets versus Degenerate 5. And of course, I mess it up a little bit because I don't transition to, there we go, the picks and bans page. We've got the Swain and Rakan banned away immediately. Now, Kai'Sa just recently received a bunch of nerfs. Do you see her potentially still being picked up, or is she going to be a ban?
Potentially, she's still a very powerful split lane duelist from the ADC role and can join fights with her ultimate. However, the ridiculous power that she was receiving in fights was largely due to her incredible synergy with the item Death's Dance. Basically made her immortal because her Q was counting every single one of those shots that she does from Icathian Rain as a single instance of single target damage. Now that means that the item would then register it as the full 15% healing, and you're dealing about 1,000 damage over all of those missiles. So 15% of that, you're getting a lot of HP back in just one spell cast. The fact that that thing's on a 4 to 5 second cooldown, depending on the stage you are in the game, that's a problem, because you're getting about 300 health back every time you cast it, plus auto attacks. So that was the issue. They recently changed that to where she's no longer and there's the Kai'Sa.
There we go.
It's no longer counted as an instance of single target damage. It's now counted as, in all instances, as multi-target split up. So I forget exactly how Death's Dance. I think it's half healing for area of effect damage. I'm pretty sure is the stat there, but I'd have to look it up to be sure.
Right, which obviously Degenerate 5 still believes she's strong enough and worth a first pick into this game. Interesting choice coming out from Fire Ferrets, as well as they're going to grab the Morgana. Bottom lane already locked in, feeling confident. Morgana Black Shield going to do a great job avoiding a lot of CC, maybe playing into the assumed potential Alistar that Degenerate 5 has pulled out before. Just feeling really confident in early picking that bottom lane as the Tom Kench, unbench the Kench, comes out from Degenerate 5, and Graves, who doesn't see a lot of play, being picked up by Xyle Flame.
Yeah, Graves just received a very powerful buff. It doesn't look like much, but giving him, I don't remember if it was like 20 seconds off of his ultimate or something like that, really brought him back into the meta. He's been doing very well, high win rate this patch. And Morgana and Caitlyn have been locked in for the bot lane, perennially one of the strongest bot lanes in the game. You have, Jin Leona, you have Caitlyn Misfortune, and Lucian Braum are just some of the highest synergy champions that can be played in that bot lane. Morgana lands a binding, Caitlyn drops a trap underneath, and especially Caitlyn has a huge matchup advantage against Kai'Sa because of the range disparity there. I'm looking to see Kai'Sa start with a Doran's shield rather than a Doran's blade so that she can really sustain and keep herself from getting poked out in that early game. I do like the pickup from Kench to snap up the Kai'Sa if she ever gets hit by the Dark Binding Trap combo. However, if Kench gets hit by that, there's going to be a problem. He has a very large hitbox, and it will be fairly easy to make subject to that combination there, and it has the potential to get one shot executed. That's the danger of the Morgana-Caitlyn combo if Kate manages to hit all of her follow-up abilities.
So it looks like Degenerate 5 is starting to ban away some of these junglers, taking out the Jarvan the 4th, and now picking up the Kha'Zix as well, wanting to get those junglers out. We'll see what Fire Ferrets pick up as a jungle in response, or do they feel confident enough to first pick their top lane? More than likely to pick up the jungler, assuming that it's going to be Graves. I'd like to see someone with a lot of engage, someone that can really start off a lot of fights, though Echo is pretty good about being able to dash in and use a lot of engage himself. And there's the Volibear coming out, potentially for top lane or jungle, and that is a massive amount of engage coming out from Fire Ferrets.
most likely going to be jungle. Pixel Bleach covering the Ahri. Ahri is an incredibly powerful champion right now. They've given her back a large portion of her assassination potential that she was taken away back in Season 4. So basically, if she lands a charm now, there's a lot of damage going to be coming through afterwards. Matching up well against the Echo in the mid lane. Now, Renduri is going to be locking in. What's he going to pick for the top lane? We've seen Prankuru take over games on multiple occasions. And Renduri is going to be locking in that Aurelia.
Well, keep in mind that these players are in the true positions that they will be in game. So Renduri will actually be playing support for Degenerate 5, but locking in for the top laner. Okay, sorry,
that's what I was saying. Prankuru is the top laner who's taken over matches
and
before.
Pick up a Shen. Interesting choice. He's very tanky, very good at slip pushing and then joining team fights.
Ooh, this is bold.
I don't know if that's a real pick or not.
I hope not. That's not a good matchup into Shin. And the Gangplank.
Okay.
Just trolling us with the Teemo pick. Yeah, but Shen is a champion who is both really good in a 1v1, but also in a tank 1v1. Shen does a really good job at out damaging and taking over in that top lane island setting. However, Gangplank really just wants to sit back and CS. So it is going to be Volibear in the jungle rather than top lane, which is probably a good thing because Volibear's laning phase, that just sounds like garbage to me.
Not the most
potent laner right
potent
there.
Laner. But we are going to run through the players and their champions real quick, and then we'll get into analyzing these teams. As it is going to be for Degenerate 5, game number 1, Prankuru picking up the Shen, Xyle Flame in the jungle on the Graves, Avidity with the Ahri in the mid lane, Pixel Bleach taking the Kai'Sa, bottom lane AD carry, and we're still seeing supports with Ignite, Renduri taking the Tahm Kench into the bottom lane. Give it up for Fire Ferrets.
Yeah, Fire Ferrets has hash code in the top lane on the Gangplank, Homemade Pancakes in the jungle on Volibear, Dosob in the mid lane on Echo, King Kong Gun on Caitlyn in the bottom lane ADC role, and Gerbil rounding it out with Morgana in the support role. All right, so let's take a look at these laning phase matchups, Jake. I'm giving a heavy matchup advantage over to King Kong Gun and Gerbil, just from a straight champion perspective. Caitlyn outranges Kai'Sa by something stupid like 150 range or something like that. So the aggression really should be on Caitlyn, and the range advantage of Morgana over Tahm Kench. They should really just harass these guys away, and without jungle intervention at some point, what they really need to do is control the wave in the early game, shove it into tower, go get deep vision, and continue to poke down Kai'Sa and Tahm Kench under tower. Use Caitlyn's traps to abuse zone control, and deny Kai'Sa as much CS as possible, and draw pressure from the jungle.
Yeah, I agree, but and I actually fully agree as well that Volibear is so good at doing engages. When you imagine him running in, plus potentially taking Predator Boots as well, those are still very strong, still very good for engage, and then you throw on a Morgana Black Shield. If he ganks the bottom lane, there's not a whole lot that the enemy can do. Kai'Sa, not really well known for being one of the fastest high mobility champions. She doesn't have just a get out of jail free like Ezreal or even Caitlyn and Calvert until level 6. Then there's Tahm Kench, who he can certainly eat Kai'Sa, but he himself is extremely slow. And unless he uses that gray health to keep himself alive and engage, he can very easily be picked off and fall. And when you've got that black shield on Volibear, negating all of those spells, the slows, the stuns that might be coming out from Degenerate 5, there's a lot of potential for a really strong engage. And if you think about the overall hard CC that Degenerate 5 has across the board, it's an Ahri Charm and a Shen Taunt. That's about it.
Yeah, they also have the Tahm Kench Eat on a long-term team fight, but you're right, there is a fairly low amount of CC coming through from their team. And on the other side, there's not that much reliable CC. I mean, you have Parallel Convergence from Echo, you've got Traps from Caitlyn, and Bind from Morgana is really the only long-range pick tool that they have. Volibear brings a knock-up and another knock-up to the table. But really, there's not a lot of CC coming through from either side, which is rare to see. As for the other matchups, I would give Ari an edge over Echo because it's range versus melee. Of course, as with any assassin matchup, that can swing based on individual gameplay. And in top lane, Shen should probably outduel Gangplank, but Gangplank is going to heavily outscale the Shen. As he will also be able to have level 6 pressure. If Shen goes to TP to another lane, then Gangplank can just ult and shove in the wave. So he will have a matchup advantage post 6 if Shen decides to use his taunt, his ult proactively.
And that's one of the main things with that Gangplank that I'm really interested in seeing is not so much engaging or even team fighting, but just bringing the incredible power that he has when it comes to that split push. He's a huge wave killer. He can just murder waves very easily with those barrels. And there we go. I was about to be like, hold on a second. And there's just so much power that he brings when it comes to tearing down those turrets. And I would love to see him, as long as his team can hold out, even if Shen goes in, there's potential for him to just completely take over the side lanes and be nearly impossible to deal with. He's got so many escapes. And again, because of the lack of really hard CC coming out from Degenerate 5, any one of those things, a charm from Ari lands, he just eats his oranges and runs away to safety. So we'll have to see if he can manage to do that, or can Shen hold him still long enough until he can use that ultimate to make some across the map plays, pick up some of those neutral buffs of the Dragon, the Rift Herald, potentially even Barons, and continue on. How long, as a rough guesstimate, do you think this game is going to last?
Let me take a look at these picks real quick. If Kaisa gets snowballed, if Graves gets snowballed, or even if Ari gets snowballed, that's going to be a pretty... It depends on which side gets a lead. If Fire Ferrets gets a lead, they have the longer-term scaling options with Gangplank and the Caitlyn. However, if D5 gets a lead, they have the more snowbally comp between Ari, Graves, and Kaisa. So if Fire Ferrets gets a lead, I think it's gonna go out a little bit. And a pause! Yay,
Immediately into the pause. That's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen, when it is everything on the line, game number 1. Now, one of the things to keep in mind as well is that some of these players may be pulling out heroes that they aren't necessarily the strongest on, just to kind of feel what the enemy team is picking up, what the enemy team might be playing, how those relationships are going to be happening. And so we could see them change things up, especially in game number 2, but most importantly, the ever-critical potential game 3, when one team could be leading all the way to match point. We'll have to see if it comes down to that. Not sure, but ladies and gentlemen, there is a poll currently on the screen. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, there should be a little Streamlabs icon that you can go over. There is a poll in there questioning who will win game number 1. If you guys vote, we'd love to see it about the 10-minute mark. I'll try to remember that and check and see whether or not what you guys in the audience imagine as the team that's going to take game number 1. Degenerate 5 has looked extremely strong so far, but that doesn't mean that they are, oh boy, I just bug splatted. Holy mackerels.
Well, don't worry. You've got plenty of time to get back in the game because
This
we
is
are
true.
still paused, Jake.
This is actually very true. We're currently sitting on a pause, so we got a little bit of a break time at the moment to talk about these teams a little bit more. I do believe, all right, this is actually a warning to everyone out there right now. This has happened a lot more often. If you actually watch the stream on a regular basis, you'll see this happen usually in game number 1. I think that despite Riot talking about trying to make it easier for content creators to create content, they did end up rolling through with their coding that makes it very difficult for the Creator Suite program to actually read the League of Legends information. And so every time that I try to get the Spectator Suite program running, it ends up sometimes, not every time, but about 2 out of 3 times, ends up actually crashing the game. So if you are a content creator, beware that more often than not, that's the Creator Suite program is going to have issues. And so it's probably safer just to not use it for now, which is really annoying and really frustrating. There's so many amazing things that you could do with that. But we will get into game here, ladies and gentlemen, in just a minute. Is it still paused,
Yeah.
Wraith?
No, it is not. Right
Okay.
now, they are in the mid lane. They're starting a 5-point defense on both sides. Hashcode's kind of dancing around above the top tower, and everybody else is just in full defensive positions. No crazy invades, and we've got about 30 seconds. Now, minions have spawned and are now walking down the mid lane. 30 seconds.
And we will see them walking down the mid lane as we have made it into game. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 between Degenerate 5 and Fire Ferrets. Now, there is some movement from Degenerate 5 moving in. They're going to find Gangplank, or more, Hashcode's going to find some damage himself, as Prank Crew is going to move in. But a great ward from Hashcode is going to give him all the vision he needs in case Degenerate 5 try to do anything slick there. Now, it looks like he's not going to be going for the red buff. Instead, he's going to be trying to pick up the Raptor camp instead. We'll see if he still tries to make a move on the red buff. He will be seen by that ward from the Gangplank in the top lane. But,
Yeah.
go ahead.
After taking that much damage, well, he is kiting this camp out very well, often taking Raptors at level 1. Well, oh, and he leaves one there. So that's going to delay the timing. That's a lot of XP going over the way of Xyle Flame over Homemade Pancakes. As we've seen in previous game, Homemade Pancakes is one of the anchor players for the team of Fire Ferrets. So sitting him behind at level 1 is probably a really good idea. Hashcode in the top lane is completely out of mana, and that level 2 all-in coming through from Shen.
Yeah, he's got level 2 over. Hashcode gets him very low, forces the flash out as well from the Gangplank. Looks like he will live for the moment, but that flash being burned so early, especially with Graves still being on that side of the map, he's already picked up his blue buff, could try to make a play, but as he is on the Wolves, it's more likely that he will just continue to farm up and try to get himself a lot further ahead than the Volibear on the other side. Now, Volibear isn't too stressed out about the Raptor camps being taken. He's actually finishing off the small little Raptor that was left over now because it was just one camp. There's still some flexibility early on in the game, but Pixel Bleach with a nice full rocket into Gerbil forces the flash as well as the heal from King Kong Gun. And while no deaths yet, so many spells have been burned on the Fire Ferret side as they're trying to play safe, but there's so much opportunity for Graves to engage now.
Yeah, I was expecting King Kong Gun to walk up and headshot Renduri. There was really nothing that he could have done about that. Just dodged the tongue slash. Hold on, we've got a gank in the top lane.
Yeah, Homemade Pancakes returning the gank favor onto Prank Kuru in the top lane. Dashes himself to safety for a moment, continuing to just harass a little bit of damage on Hashcode. And actually plays Homemade Pancakes so well. The Volibear has gone back and forth on this wall, not really knowing exactly where Shen is going to go. And he's going to continue to try to escape as he gets knocked up and back into the bush, but he could just dash over this wall. I think I'll have the cooldown for that in a second, and he does, making a very nice play, burning so much time from Homemade Pancakes as he was undecided on which side that Shen was going to try to escape from, and in the end makes a clean getaway.
Yeah, really what Homemade Pancakes should have done there is given up right after the flash was burned, taking that summoner spell advantage and repeat ganked maybe with his flash. But that's unfortunate that he did end up burning that summoner spell to get nothing else in response. But Xyle Flame is on the bottom side of the map, and if you remember, Gerbil has already burned Flash, and he's playing very far forward. This could be a kill.
Yeah, that's nice spell shield from Morgana, keeping her safe for the moment. Gerbil placing that one very, very early, and that's what we talk about, the lack of CC from the jungler, but Hashcode may go down in the top lane. Shen has already used the dash, so not going to be able to chase for now, but keep in mind, that Gangplank still does not have flash. He doesn't teleport, so it looks like he is going to recall and try to get back to lane before that wave is pushed in, and he's chunked himself about 10 farm ahead of Shen, because Shen was forced to back after the gank from the Volibear, so he's not doing too badly.
Yeah, currently, I have to give props to King Kong Gun in the bottom lane. That Gerbil was in a very precarious position there, but King Kong Gun dropped a trap right between Graves and his support, snaring them up and denying that engage, using his limited mana to maximum effect, and getting and preventing the kill onto his support.
So instead of using the 90 caliber net just to free escape, using that mana, and very low on mana as well, so it wasn't like you had too many options, but playing very smart. And so far, it's still a fairly even game. Despite a lot of those summoner spells being burned on the Fire Ferret's side, they haven't, Degenerate 5 has not been able to use that to much effect, and their gank in the one time from the Graves in the bottom lane hasn't done much. Now, as we are all excited, it is the early game Infernal Drake coming out. So we're all going to have to watch carefully to see if that Drake comes into use between one of these teams who wants to use it. In my opinion, the Fire Ferrets would love to have it, not only for the name, but having that Caitlyn and the Echo being able to just put out maximum amounts of damage with that Infernal would be wonderful. But Ari and Kaisa would also love it.
Yeah, Prankuru taking a very bad trade into those minions there and is dropping himself very low. Hashcode now winning out in this top lane, getting himself access to some mana and a little bit more damage. Now he's taking over this matchup, and Homemade Pancakes is on this side of the map. I doubt they'll look for a dive here, though. Diving Shen, probably not the best idea. But King Kong Gun and Gerbil are getting pushed in on this bot side, which...
just forced to use the flash in the mid lane, had the ult up, but chose not to use it, instead favoring the flash, which I'm not exactly sure as to why. Maybe the 3 short dashes from that ultimate, what she wants to have that in case the Volibear tries to do a regank in the mid lane. But Prankuru, yeah, definitely having trouble in the top lane, but in the bottom lane, Randuri saving the Kaisa for the moment. It was just a little bit of harass damage coming out from King Kong Gun, but gets her back safely underneath the turret as she's going to continue to farm up.
And this is what I want to see from King Kong Gun and Gerbil. I want them on that tower there, using their CC and zone control to deny CS from Pixel Bleach. If they're getting pushed in by Kaisa and Tom Kench, there's a problem.
Yeah,
so,
Pixel Bleach hasn't been able to do too much. It's usually when there's a threat of the jungler, but they are moving in. Now is the Black Shield onto the Caitlyn. Gerbil moves in very, very close. I'm not exactly sure why she had to be within slapping range, but Hashcode heads to the top lane trying to get a kill. It is going to be the third kill of the game falling. Hashcode has been taken out, but it's 2 kills for Degenerate 5. Dosab with the ultimate gets out of safety for the moment. Ari could try to chase it down, but will get away with nothing. It is all about the Shen picking up the kill. Graves getting an assist on that. While in the bottom lane, it was the Tom Kench that was able to finish off the Morgana, I believe, with his Ignite.
Homemade Pancake's going to try and solo this Infernal Drake, but does he have enough damage is the question. King Kong Gun getting shoved in down here. He does not have priority enough to help him out. And yes, Dosab is roaming down to this side of the map and is going to have time to tank up a couple of shots. But that is Smite used by Homemade Pancakes, and there's no contest coming through, fortunately. Otherwise, that could have been awkward.
Yep. Fire Ferrets do, though, sneak away that Infernal Drake. Nice moves. Thought that after the engage in the top lane, it was unlikely that Graves would be rushing down towards the Drake, and they guessed correctly, able to pick that one up. So already a pretty decent advantage for them, while gold is actually in the hands of Degenerate 5, about 1,000 gold up. We've kind of spread across the teams when it comes to farm. The opposite of that, though, is that mid lane. The Echo already pushing about 15 farm over the Ahri and several items up. So she has yet to back, still sitting on about 700 gold. Now Xyleflame moves to the top lane. Hashcode potentially in trouble, trying to save his oranges for the last minute. Just walks around backwards, but he is nowhere getting out of that one. And Xyleflame picks up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, Xyleflame getting that onto the Graves is definitely superior to getting it onto the Shen there. Graves does have the potential right now to completely take over games, and he is going to be walking into the enemy jungle and looking to take away the Krugs here. I almost said golems.
Oh yeah, Dosab maybe in trouble. Dashes over the wall. Pixel Bleach going to get some good damage. Throw down the rockets, the flash forward, but Infinity with a well-placed orb going to take that Echo out. And now 4-1 Degenerate 5 looking strong. There's still potential for those engages and fights from Fire Ferrets, but we have seen this story told before. Degenerate 5 pick up a little bit of an early lead and then just slowly start to snowball it in, catching out Homemade Pancakes. Now he is in trouble, gets taunted up, throws the Shen, flashes forward, looking for the Blast Cone, not going to find it. It is already gone as Vileflame used it earlier when he was engaging the top lane. The charm goes down. Volibear trying to passive heal up, not nearly going to be enough. And Fire Ferrets, several members getting caught out where they should not. the Echo in the enemy's red buff, and now the Volibear by the Rift Herald.
And mainly this is vision control right here, which is a bit surprising. They do have a control ward in the top side jungle. The vision down around the enemy's red buff is what ended up catching the Echo out. However, Fire Ferrets has priority control of that top side using vision, and that's another binding going wide from Gerbil. I don't believe he's hit one onto anyone.
Pixel Bleach. I think he has hit Renduri a time or two, but it really doesn't do much on the Tahm Kench, as he's either got the great health if he feels like he's going to take extra damage, but he's also going to have that passive heal to keep him nice and healthy. Now, Avidity in the mid lane, though, Dosab is going to be one of those playmakers for Fire Ferrets. He tried an aggressive play earlier, did not work out for him. This time, able to chunk the Ahri down, forcing her back in the top lane. Hash code down to half health, but is just going to keep chewing his way through those oranges, as Prankuru, with the red buff, is going to just continue to damage him down. Now, Homemade Pancakes in the bottom lane, looking for an engage, gets the toss onto the Tahm Kench, tries to walk backwards, but Gerbil has yet to throw out the Dark Binding, uses the ultimate, might snare up two. Shen comes in, he's not going to be snared. However, the Kai'Sa's in trouble. That's King Kong Gun taking out the Kai'Sa, and now Prankuru, the one who's trying to finish off Homemade Pancakes, flashes forward, gets the last auto attack, takes him down. King Kong Gun trying to get the damage down. Gerbil doing what he can to tank it up, trying to bait the Prankuru into the Echo stun. It doesn't matter. Echo's here to finish him off. Xyle Flame waiting patiently off to the side, but discovers that he's sitting on control ward, and a huge team fight won by Fire Ferrets.
Yeah, that was incredible. All of the careful work done by D5 over this time, getting summoner spells blown and taking small advantages throughout all the lanes. Little CS here, kill here or there. All of that's undone by that fight in the bottom lane. Also, the Infernal Drake has already gone over to the side of Fire Ferret, so they are set up for a fairly good look at the late game. And they also have the scaling advantage, but with the Caitlyn and the Gangplank in the top and bottom lanes, respectively. However, Echo will get outscaled by Ahri, and the jungler will outscale. The Xyle Flame will have the advantage on that Graves as time goes on. So scaling kind of even into the later stages of the game, but as I said before, that Infernal Drake will really help out for Fire Ferrets.
Something to check on is that next Drake, as well as is going to be a second Infernal Drake. So this is going to be a spicy game. If you are a modern millennial, you might even call it lit. But Fire Ferrets, something to note on their lineup is now the 2-0-1 Caitlyn. King Kong Gun having been able to pick up those 2 kills in the last engage on the bottom side, whereas Pixel Bleach only getting on those 3 assists. That's a bunch of random pieces to the BF Sword and Pickaxe that has already been finished by King Kong Gun. And the possibility for an Infinity Edge early is going to be huge. Now in the mid lane, Dosab getting jumped on by Xyle Flame. Nice dodge on the charm from Avidity. All those spells go wild, and Dosab, with almost no mana, backs safely. And sitting at 120 farm over Avidity's 80 farm in the mid lane is massive, despite Ahri being 1-0-1.
Okay, I heard that as Dosab was 120 farm over Avidity. I was like, what happened?
Well, basically, Ahri's not been farming at all this game, so that's the only way they could manage that. But it is going to be Renduri picked up, despite Gerbil trying to throw out the Dark Binding. Homemade Pancakes throws him backwards, and Morgana finishes him off. Doesn't even need the Ignite. The Siege complete on the bottom lane turret, down to half health, flashing forward for the Gerbil, trying to get the snare down onto Pixel Bleach. Will land. Caitlyn with the headshot. King Kong Gun picks up his 3rd of the game. Xyle Flame potentially in trouble now, moves back forward, but that is still so much damage being pumped out by the Caitlyn. And there's 3 members. Xyle Flame trying to push all 3 back. The Homemade Pancakes doesn't care. Goes in, very low health, starts the pass of the Black Shield, trying to save him a little bit. GP using his ultimate as well, but doesn't quite catch it. The flash from Xyle Flame, that's what he had on the backline, safely held. And with that 90 caliber net, I believe the members of Fire Ferrets are going to get out free.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that that's the Shen ultimate expended for absolutely nothing. And you're also going to have hash code just getting free CS on the top side of the map here. So that's another Infernal Drake going over to Fire Ferrets, as well as free gold going over to the hyper-scaling Gangplank and perhaps a tower. He will get a decent amount of damage onto this. It has a massive wave here. This could indeed be first tower. Xyle Flame is going to be up here, and of course Shen will have the taunt to force him off.
But something that Fire Ferrets is doing really well is setting up all of these turrets. If you look at the top lane turret, it's still sitting on just underneath 600 health. The bottom lane turret as well, down to below half. So they are setting up these turrets to fall in quick order. It's only the mid lane turret that is still fairly high health. It's about 2/3 health up, but it is all about the farm in the mid lane, as that Echo has such a massive advantage. He's going to continue to want to keep that lane there as much as possible so that he can continue to stack up that farm lead. It's only when they are ready to finally take one of that mid lane tower, probably with the Rift Herald, which Volibear could definitely get some good damage on, even pulling in hash code to try to come down and assist on that. Prankuru has a long way to go on the top lane turret to get even close to what Gangplank was able to get from the last engage.
Indeed. He is building that Tiamat, though, so he will have a little bit of damage on the towers, but Hashcode playing this very clean, getting damage down, and he instantly uses the oranges and takes a very good trade against Prankuru. But the reset on the Tiamat actually gives Prankuru the positive side of that second trade there. So now in the top lane, there is a very large wave here that Prankuru is going to use Tiamat to knock down really quick, and with that corrupting potion, Gangplank is going to find himself.
Ooh, Xyle Flame to the bot lane, nice jump out. The ult immediately started from the Morgana. She's gonna fall before it finishes, and they're going to be able to easily clean up one. Xyle Flame having been very, very patient in that bottom lane bush, waiting for the members of Fire Ferrets to step forward. It is two huge items of the Trinity Force and the Infinity Edge by Fire Ferrets. However, 3 members in the bottom lane, Degenerate 5, pick up first turret gold because the members of Fire Ferrets had only gotten towers low, hadn't quite dropped them. And so that first turret gold going to go over to Degenerate 5 and continue to stack up their now 1,500 lead in gold.
So now King Kong Gun is alone on the bottom side of the map, and if his jungler decides to roam down here, they know that their bot lane just recalled, so they could take a counter tower here very easily, and it is going to be the shift over Renduri using the ult to bring Xyle Flame to the top lane and keep Gangplank from getting that counter tower down. Putting Kai'Sa and the Tahm Kench on the top side will, at least for the moment, stop Hashcode from taking down that tower, though.
Well, it would be really nice if the members of Fire Ferrets were able to trade the Caitlyn and Morgana back to the top lane, as they have that siege potential to take out that turret. Homemade Pancakes starting the ultimate to try to give him a little bit of a speed boost to get out of the mid lane. No, I guess it wasn't the ultimate. Maybe his E. But Dosop still holding the mid quite well, 2, 1, and 0. Hasn't completed any major items just yet, but the Black Shield goes on a little bit late, so he was charmed. Doesn't matter, though, able to walk away from that one. And Pixel Bleach and Renduri heading towards the top lane. There are 3 members moving up, but they catch sight of the bottom lane, headed towards the top lane. Morgana now moving up as well, getting set with King Kong Gun, so they should be able to defend this if the tower doesn't go just from the minions.
Yeah, in fact, that would actually be best case scenario for Pixel Bleach and Renduri.
Oh, they're going to engage on a King Kong Gun, going in for it. Xyle Flame moved around the back of the Baron Pit. Beautiful play, and now Pixel Bleach sets up with the taunt from the Shen, who moves from the bottom lane. Prankuru coming in, very nicely done. I think he actually even started his ultimate onto the Caitlyn before being eaten by the Tahm Kench, so they couldn't see that Shen was coming up until the very last second. So nice moves by Degenerate 5, going to get them a second turret in the top lane. Homemade Pancakes tries to make a move in the mid lane, but the Ahri uses the ult just to get out of it. So Dosob only puts the tower down to half health.
Yeah, that was very well played by D5 there. They could have very easily gotten collapsed on and lost that tower, but instead they're going to end up getting 2 towers for their trouble, using the Shen ultimate and the positioning of their jungler to their advantage. And once again, as we've seen in numerous games, macro triumphs over mechanics. Dosob has been outplaying Avidity in the mid lane. Hash Code has been pretty much always winning trades with Shen, except in the very, very early levels. And in the bot lane, King Kong Gun and Gerbil were the recipients of some decent ganks, and they ended up getting advantages for themselves. However, the superior macro out of D5 secures them 2 objectives on the top side of the map, as well as a 2,000 gold lead now. However, those 2 Infernal Drakes still looming large in everyone's eyes, and Gerbil probably going to be forced to blow Flash here. Pixel Bleach aggroing Baron, and is just going to watch it kill Gerbil, but didn't end up happening as he did have Flash up.
But with that down, there's no opportunity for the Flash engage from Gerbil using that ultimate. Does have Redemption, though, as one of the first items that she completed in the game, so we'll be able to use that for any long-range engages. She doesn't have to be directly in the fight. Also has a stopwatch in preparation to build the eventual Zanyas. However, continue to finish huge items across the map for both teams, as it's that Titanic Hydra from the Shen, the Black Cleaver from the Graves as well, Luden's Echo on the Ahri, and the Lich Bane as the first item finished for Dosob. So really looking for those powerful dash attacks and wanting to do as much damage as he can with those auto attacks thrown in. Black Shield onto the Volibear for the engage, but from the back lines, King Kong Gun gonna be taken out. Pixel Bleach with a great assassination on that side, and Shen able to save the Graves. That is huge for Degenerate 5 as they're going to crush down the enemy team. Dosob, the only one left alive here for the fight, 1v5, and that's gonna be Baron over to Degenerate 5 with some really good movement.
Yeah, Degenerate 5 is just completely outplaying Fire Ferrets in these team fights. Despite the early lead Fire Ferrets managed to get from laning phase, D5 just looking much more polished and clean in the fights that they're taking. Their target selection and damage is a lot better. However, Xio Flame, the jungler, jumping out of the pit when his team is doing Baron, even though there's only one person up, it's a little questionable.
Feeling confident, not too worried. The Gangplank didn't even have the ultimate to try to steal away the Baron, and so he was just hopped over the wall just to push the Echo back. It could have been a Baron saving play if he had been able to hop over the wall and snipe it away, but instead it will be the Baron buff going over to Degenerate 5, now looking incredibly strong in game number 1, about 4,000 gold in the lead. Let's see what they can do with this Baron, as turrets have completely fallen in the top lane all the way up to that inhibitor turret. They could try to force onto that inhibitor and get it across the map from the dragon, where Elder Drakes are going to start spawning in the near future.
Now it is a Cloud Drake on the map right now, not really worth dying over, and as Fire Ferrets have lost control of the map, if D5 decides that they want to move toward that, it's probably best that Fire Ferrets just give it up.
All right, so with this team now 3...
Hash Code not really going to be able to engage here. However, Homemade Pancakes and Dribble are here. Yeah, and despite a good engage, you see the best way, in its essence, League of Legends is just a game of numbers. If you have 3 and they have 2, odds are you'll win. If you have 4 and they have 5, you're probably going to lose. And if they have a tower and you're Dosob, you probably shouldn't be tanking it for no reason. Anyway, so Fire Ferrets just throw more bodies than D5 were able to bring. However, that is a Cloud Drake still going over to the side of Degenerate 5, and they did end up trading 3 for 2 in the favor of Fire Ferrets, so that does stem the tide of the Baron push that they had going there. Homemade Pancake sitting in this bush right here, but he does not want to engage this, I don't think. Yeah, though I don't know. Homemade Pancake's good, would have the potential to maybe duel this out. He is full health, and I think he has passive up. Gerbil coming in real quick. Prankaroo, is he going to greed for this? No, he's not. Indeed, they did. Though that could have gone down if Chen were to have greeted for it. They did manage to get out alive and are playing it more on the safe side. King Kong then going to be picking up this red buff. It'll be incredibly helpful for him kiting that front line that's going to be walking straight toward him. Now, from a scaling perspective, I'm really unsure who outscales whom in the ADC standpoint. Pixel Bleach is going to be doing a lot of damage. However, Caitlyn is a good bit easier to execute in fights. Inhib for support is not necessarily the trade you want to take if you're Fire Ferrets. However, with that top lane Inhib down, D5 are going to have a great way to push toward this objective that has just now spawned. Excuse me. D5 are going to start this up as soon as that wave crashes, and yes, Gangplank has gone to clear it, and they have started it up. This is looking like it's going to go over to Degenerate 5. And Homemade Pancakes could possibly flash the wall here, but he does not go for it. Dosov in the pit, no, but the smite is going to be down by Xyle Flame. Hashcode on the backside, and it looks like Gerbil's in the pit. King Kong Gun doing out the damage. He's got 2, and on the backside of the fight, the Hashcode's gonna go down. Xyle Flame is at full health, but they've engaged the fight once again. This is King Kong Gun in the back line. Gerbil's gonna be caught up, and Xyle Flame takes him down. Homemade Pancake's gonna fall really quick. King Kong Gun turns and fires and kills the mid laner, and it's going to be Xyle Flame taking out King Kong Gun for the quadra kill.
That is a quadra kill and an ace for Degenerate 5. Xyle Flame doing a fantastic job moving around the backside of that, cleaning people out with the siege minions onto the Nexus turrets. Prankuru just dashing over the wall for fun. Could have walked around, but no need to. They may be able to finish this off. There's still only 7 seconds on the Echo. Could try to come back up and defend, but the first of the Nexus turrets is down. Shen doing a nice job tanking this turret up for Xyle Flame's damage, as he is going to be pumping out the Baron buff, still ticking on them. So that's Baron buffed super minions. Moving on to the Nexus itself, they have gotten it down to very low health. Xyle Flame needs one more shot, and that's going to be game 1 going over to Degenerate 5 with some amazing plays. The Shen and the Graves doing huge work in the last 2 major fights of the game.
Yeah, seriously, Prankuru and Xyle Flame were just anchors that game. In a matchup that is pretty much supposed to go even, where with Hashcode outscaling, Prankuru did manage to just completely take over the game, getting himself 7 kills and 10 assists, and a good chunk of gold for him, about even in CS overall, and really just holding his team down, TPing into fights and turning them around in many times, and Xyle Flame just being where he needs to be on the map, and then dealing out the DPS in that last fight, securing the quadra kill for himself when it looked like the fight was going against them initially. All in all, a very, very good game. And anything you want to say before we start into the next game?
Well, we're going to check on the stats in just a second. I'm actually waiting for the spinning circle of death. There we go, it's showing up. Main thing on this was King Kong Gun 7, 4, and 8. I wish that the members of Fire Ferrets had done a little bit more to unlock Caitlyn's potential, especially early game when she was sitting on that 5 and 1 stats, was very far ahead of her opponent, had an Infinity Edge long before a lot of the members of Degenerate 5 had been able to finish some of their first items of the game. However, never really had those either pick potential with the Gerbil's Dark Bindings or any of those things to be able to get and use the damage that she had with that Infinity Edge. And we'll see if they can do that in game number 2, which will be coming up in just a minute. We're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen, about 3 minutes, and then we'll be right back for game number 2 of Degenerate 5 versus Fire Ferrets in the finale of Legends Series number 2. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Unless you can use the bathroom. That's true.